Okay, we'll now open the March 2026 regular school board meeting. 1.1 roll call vote. Everybody is here tonight. 1.2 recognition of visitors and guests. Welcome to everyone here and watching. 1.3 pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, 1.4 correspondence and recognition. We've had no public participation requests. Recognition of students, staff, and community. Okay, Worthington Middle School and Worthington High School Music Department. Congratulations to our middle school and high school music departments for the opportunity for students to participate in all state ensembles and ACDA honors choirs. We are proud to have had 3 students selected for orchestra, 5 for the Minnesota All-State Choirs, and 6 for the 9th through 10th grade honor choir. Well done. Trojan Wrestling, congratulations to Dominic Larson on an outstanding season, including his 60th career pin, being named to the Big South All-Conference team and qualifying for the Minnesota State Wrestling Tournament. Additionally, 3 wrestlers earned medals at the Section 3A individual tournament, and the team achieved gold level academic honors with a 3.552 GPA. Go Trojans. Trojan Gymnastics, congratulations to our 5 gymnasts who were named to the Big South All-Conference team. Awesome season. Trojan Girls Hockey, congratulations to Bretta Johnson for being named to the Big South All-Conference Girls Hockey team. WHS Student Council, way to go WHS Student Council. Students raised and donated over $4,000 to the Nobles County Toys for Tots campaign. An outstanding show of generosity and community spirit. WHS Business Professionals of America, congratulations to our WHS BPA chapter on a successful Minnesota State Convention. Rhett Ramos designed the winning Minnesota State pin for the National BPA Convention. 10 members competed, with Pierre Hatu earning 7th place and serving as the runner-up alternate for nationals. Well done. Prairie Elementary and Intermediate School. Amazing effort by our K kids and students at Prairie Elementary and Intermediate School. Together they raised $5,637.10 through their annual Coins for Cancer campaign, benefiting the Children's Miracle Network at Sanford Children's Hospital. Congratulations on the job well done. WHS FFA. Our WHS FFA chapter hosted its annual banquet with over 200 attendees, celebrating a year full of accomplishments and recognizing student achievements. We look forward to the upcoming competitions and the Minnesota State FFA Convention in April. The Trojans 1976 girls basketball team. The WHS 1976 girls basketball team was honored at the Minnesota State girls basketball tournament celebration of their 50th anniversary of the first girls state tournament. As one of the inaugural teams, their legacy continues to inspire. 5 players and Coach Kuiper attended, traveling from across the country to be recognized during a halftime ceremony. Congratulations on being pioneers for women's athletics. Trojan Boys Hockey, congratulations to Dominic Pavelko for being named honorable mention all-conference in the Big South Conference. Okay. Moving on. 2.0, approval of agenda, but before we approve anything, we got some additions to our main agenda. So 5.711 will be the non-renewal of Lindsay Schumacher. 5.712 is Taylor Huseman. And 5.713 is Lori Crowley. So we'll need a motion to approve the consent and main agenda with additions made. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Lori. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ann. All those in favor of the motion with the additions to the main agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 3.0, approval of minutes. Approval of the February school board meeting minutes and school board work session and committee meeting minutes as well. Do I have a motion for approval of minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ann, seconded by Matt. All those in favor of the approval of the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 4.0, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the items under the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Eric,
Second.
seconded by Aaron. All those in favor of the items under the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, 5.0 main agenda. 5.1 monthly financial overview. Carmen.
In front of you, the revenues and expenditure report for the period ending February 28th of 2026. You will notice that the budget numbers are the revised numbers, which Ryan will be presenting here in a little bit this evening. So this gives us a much clearer picture of the budgeted and our actual expenditures. You'll notice in our total operating funds, the actual for this year is 61.43% compared to 61.73%. So we're right on target, kind of as we move forward with all of our revenues and expenditures going into this new year. Our expenditures, basically the same for our total operating funds. We're at 56.75% compared to 60.4%. Last year, one thing that is not in the expenditures yet is our retro pay for our teachers. That payment was just made here, so it will be in the next board meeting on the March expenditures, and then we'll see that. And then that will just give us a real clear picture of where we're going to be at the rest of the year when we have all those expenditures kind of up to date.
Okay, any questions for Carmen? Okay, everybody's good. Okay, 5.2, approve the second and final reading of policy 209, Code of Ethics. Joel.
Yeah, just another reminder, policy 209 is the code of ethics for board members. Again, as we have been going through all of our board policies, making sure they're all up to date, this is one that we had found a number of revisions had been missed. The most current revision was in the mid-2000s, and as we went through the review process, there was so many parts that were so far out of alignment that, again, as we had talked both last month at committee and at the board meeting, it's our recommendation that the school board adopt the model policy 209 from MSBA, starting fresh with the most recent version, and then from here on out, we'll keep up on current revisions. Again, this policy's gone through 2 committees and a board meeting without any recommendations of change, and so we're recommending approval this evening.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the second final reading of policy 209?
So moved.
Motion by Ann, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Lori. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 5.3, discuss/approve the softball field improvements bid. Josh.
Yeah, the first thing I'd like to say is this one normally would have gone to operational, but we had the bid opening last Thursday, so we did not have a chance to get it to committees. I believe it was shared in the board packet, at least the first 3 pages of the recommendation. We had 5 bidders for the project. They ranged anywhere from about $3.1 million down to right at $1,068,000. I do have up on the screen there, these were the estimates. If you remember the board, you guys had asked us to go out and try to seek some different opportunities in terms of natural gas versus all turf or partially turf. So the initial Numbers that we were using were anywhere in that 2 million for natural grass to 2.4 if we went to an all-turf surface. Note that this bid that we received, this is a high majority of the work, so this includes all of the field work, the dugouts, the fencing. There is separate numbers that would include some of the turf work. The turf for an AstroTurf, this would be an all-field, not just a partial field, would be $268,000. Bleachers and press box would be 102, almost 103. And the field lighting is coming in at the highest cost of 188, and originally that was actually budgeted in the 345 range, so definitely some favorable bids. And then there's a $30,000 scoreboard. So to complete the total project, we're at a $1,610,000 $1,610,249 price tag. And that would actually be kind of the highest quality turf. There's two different versions. It would be the soy turf, so it would also give us the opportunity to show the ag community we're partnering with them. We would also be we would be the first soy field in Minnesota, which in our opinion would be a huge benefit.
What was that number again, Josh? Your final bid?
$1,610,249.
Okay. Okay.
And that's for the all-turf field?
That would be all turf.
The whole thing, okay.
And I believe, Josh, if you could share, what is that dollar amount in the dark blue? Not at the very bottom, but up at the top where it says construction total. An all-turf field originally had been estimated at 1.8.
So like around the bases and everything, that's all turf?
What was that?
Around the bases?
All of it, yep.
So,
Yep. Infield, they actually, one of the AstroTurf options is even in the batter box and catcher and the pitcher area. It's a different product that's removable, so we can replace that easier where there's going to be more wear and tear.
I just know there's been some concern about sliding in the bases on turf.
And we did want the board to know that this typically would go to operational. We could vote tonight. If you guys need time, we can bring this back in April. We were excited about the favorable bids, so we want to make sure we got it to the board tonight. But you do have time to think about it if you feel you need to. We've talked to ICS in terms of the timeline. If it were to be in the April meeting, we still have time, but we also wanted to bring it tonight.
Project is currently in the permitting phase now. That happened today. ICS reached out to the state. They don't believe the state's going to get super involved in the permitting. Most likely, they say they'll kick it back to local permitting, which actually makes it a lot easier and a lot quicker. So that is what would happen in the meantime. They're still hoping for a potential mid-May groundbreaking. That's the timing right now, whether it gets approved tonight or it gets approved at the April meeting.
Out of curiosity, what do those figures below the construction total consist of, like the 340,000 and 88,000?
Yep, so some of that is ICS's fees to manage the project, which we've been paying on. We've been paying a set amount every month, so much of that has already been paid, and that's taken care of. And then there's some contingency costs in there, just in case something would happen.
Okay.
And there is a possibility of maybe, not a lot, but a few other grant dollars.
Yeah, I've been out there, and I don't want to speak for anyone because I haven't gotten full commitment, but I have had conversations with multiple entities that have some of their own interests in this field. Those opportunities come to us if we do choose a soy field. And so those are exciting as well, where we could have some local partnerships. And I think the one thing that we can say is that if the soy field is also chosen, that we've talked internally on allocating a set number of dollars out of the profits from the Ag Lab, being able to share some of those profits that our own students, both at Minnesota West and at the high school, had a hand in. We feel like that's a natural place to spend some of those dollars too. So we want to make sure that they get to be a part of the partnership as well.
Okay, well, it's discussion or approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the softball field improvement bid with LT Companies, Parkway Construction.
Got a motion by Matt,
I'll
second.
second the motion.
Okay, Darla, I'll go with Darla. Darla, you had seconded it first, so
Okay.
Darla seconded the motion. Is there any further discussion?
Yes, I have lots of questions about the toxicity of the AstroTurf. I've asked this question repeatedly. It's something that I am aware of with the regular turf in terms of the extreme temperature in our community, with the low temperature and the extreme high temperature, that the amount of chemicals released onto those on the field. I haven't been able to find any research about that in terms of the soy turf. And so I would like more information about that before I have to make a decision, because I don't think it's very safe further. I do want to discuss further this sliding issue on an infield, a turfed infield. That seems very problematic in terms of injury. I understand that I am not an athlete and I'm not somebody that ever has done that, but it does seem like there would be a significant amount of friction versus a dirt infield. So I have concerns about that. I also have concerns about the water drainage off of this and the toxicity of the groundwater through all of that thing. So, I continue to be of the position that I understand we need to do something about a softball field, and I continue to support the idea that it is a Title IX problem and that we need to do something, but I am still not adequately feel like I understand if we're making a bad decision, an unhealthy decision, a toxic decision for our community by putting a turf on there. And so for that reason, I'm continuing to support grass.
Okay. Any further?
There was discussion at some point that the entity would be here tonight to ask those answer questions with the AstroTurf, the soy turf, and they're not.
They're not here, no, not tonight,
Okay.
no. We've done extensive research on our own. I can address some of them, hopefully, and I don't know if this will be enough to answer all your questions. We haven't been able to find any adequate research out there that, regardless of soy turf versus other types of AstroTurf, and so truly, more and more entities are utilizing this as an access opportunity because there hasn't been the research out there, the validity to the research that shows that playing on that surface has the toxic nature that goes along with it. In regards to the heat piece, the one thing I can tell you is that the product that we're proposing today actually has less of the black plastic rubber fibers in that as compared to what we have on Trojan Field right now. And so it truly feels and looks and plays like a more natural surface versus even what we have on Trojan Field right now. And then the last thing I can say is that I know that you're talking about the toxicity of the runoff. What I can say is that the water is intended to run off quickly, right? So it doesn't pool, it doesn't sit, it doesn't absorb like it would on a natural playing surface. And so, you've got kind of two things to weigh. Is it is it fertilizer and those weed killing chemicals that is not great? Is it the plastic from the soy turf? The one thing we can say is that we do feel like we're being a little more environmentally cautious with the soy turf, knowing that instead of using petroleum oil, we're using a soy-based natural oil in the making of the backing of the plastic.
So the grass piece itself is not soy-based, just the back?
The backing, the piece that holds it all together, the part that lays on the ground, yes.
Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, a question on the grading of the entire complex. Is the plan to the remainder of our parcel prepare that for the next field, or will there any of that dirt work be done as a part of this project?
That was all a part of the bid. So the entire square block that we own will be graded and flat. The rest of that green space will be allowed to be used for other activities and be smooth and safe and free of bumps and divots and holes and all that are out there right now.
We have talked internally about potentially at least running some type of irrigation on the non-softball side so that we can keep that nice for a potential soccer area, just people using it. That's not part of this bid, but it's at least in conversation with the city regarding where their water lines run.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's an exciting opportunity to engage in a soy-based product. There's 186,000 acres of soybeans grown in our county. 86 of 87 counties in our state grow soybeans, and there's 10 million bushels of beans produced. Our soybean plant at Brewster is one of the top 3 plants in the nation, processing locally grown beans into oil in our effort to use less petroleum-based products from nations that hate us. And this is an opportunity for us to use a locally based product, and I think the opportunities of getting dollars from our ag communities, our ag partnerships, are really large.
I agree with Matt. We have a motion and a second.
Mr. Chairman, a couple more questions. I want to be clear that I'm not opposed to the idea of soy. I just feel like I don't have enough information about it, right? I understand the points that you're making, and I actually agree with you. I think it's a great opportunity to partner with our local communities. I feel like there's a lot of information about AstroTurf that is not safe, and so I have concerns about putting in a product that we don't know what it is. There isn't in research. Perhaps we participate in this research. I understand that also as an opportunity. Can someone also speak to me more about the purpose of putting turf on the infield as well as instead of dirt? I'm not 100% sure I understand why that's a thing.
I think as we looked at some of the bidding process, a softball field in general, just the size of that, it truly, based on the bidding, just made more sense rather than to try to break the two. So it becomes a discussion about, is the board, is the district, do we feel that a turf type option makes more sense or all natural? I don't think that splitting the two makes a ton of sense in terms of the project itself. And truly, when it comes to agreements even that we currently have with the city, when it comes to like the baseball field, you talk about like the sliding aspect of it. In order to make an AgriLime infield truly playable and truly safe, the amount of irrigation, the amount of time, the amount of maintenance, that will be a potential increased cost that's ongoing. I don't disagree that if an AgriLime field is constantly maintained to the highest level, it does play slightly different than an infield that's turf. But I think the idea of making it just one solid product, we had some conversation with both turfing companies regarding kind of that overlay of play where the infield, if it's natural, you're going to get some of the rubber pellets and some of the AgriLime, vice versa, playing on both sides. So we just had some conversation, does it really make sense on a field the size of a softball field to switch the two? Or do you just make the decision to go one or the other?
Mr. Parrish, just to also be super clear and transparent, the soy-based product will be in the outfield. The project that we're proposing here this evening is what the company's name is, AstroTurf. They're calling it their college level series. So this is a setup that they've done across the country, not necessarily with the soy outfield, but they make the soy-based product exactly in the oil-based as well. But the infield surface will be a different type of AstroTurf product. It's a shorter cut of artificial turf, and so it does allow it to play more natural. It allows, when you talk about safety of sliding, it's less friction because there's less material. We truly have tried to put the best plan together so that surface is a high quality surface that we hope our kids love playing on it. We hope the college eventually wants to play on it. We hope our neighbors look at it, outside of the last 3 days, we could have played on Trojan Field all winter long because there just hasn't been any snow, and it absorbs so much heat and it melts off so fast. And so we truly believe that it's an opportunity for our own kids with access, as well as an opportunity to showcase our area. As I was meeting with one of the entities that looks to potentially partner with us, should the board decide to do a soy field, I had shared that many of them had not been to the Worthington area before. And our vision is that we're going to see Little League tournaments want to come to Worthington with 3 fields in that space with no traffic that goes through it, because we've vacated that road, put that new concession stand and restroom area there. We can walk across the road as a family, have a park with a great spot to have a picnic. We can swim in the lake. We can go get ice cream at the Beach Nook. And truly, we can showcase this as a spot where hopefully people want us to host these events and really experience kind of the great things that we have to offer here in town. So while it's an opportunity for our own kids and the access, we truly feel like it's a regional opportunity as well. Not that we can't do that with natural, right? It just allows for greater access, because if it storms on a tournament day at 8 o'clock in the morning, by 10 o'clock we can potentially play. Whereas on a natural field, Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong, as our internal baseball guy, you get enough rain, you might not play on that field for 2 days. And so truly, we've tried to take all those different aspects into account, knowing that this opportunity just provides the greatest access and the best way to showcase Worthington.
Point of clarification, the outfield is soy-based, is the infield part also soy-based?
This infield is not, and only because they do not make that style of turf with the soy backing. So it'll be green.
It's a thicker thread, but it's shorter, so it plays more like a true AgriLime type field.
Sure.
Yep,
And that inside part would be brown?
correct. So essentially, it will really be 3 types of turf. You'll have the green soy-based turf in the outfield. You'll have a brownish, kind of like the color of my phone, infield that is a shorter cut, lays a certain way, so again allows for better play. And then, as Josh had shared, batters boxes, pitchers mounds around first base. Those will be pieces that get cut in, and that's even a different type of turf. That's even more dense, so that it can withstand the pressure of constant foot traffic. And then, because we're going with that product in the bid, we get, I believe, 3 sets that you can take those out, throw them in the garbage, and new ones come in, and we have those right on site. And then we can always purchase more as needed, but we could potentially need those once a year, once every 3. We obviously won't know until we see how much that field gets used, but the bid does come with sets of replacements in those high traffic areas.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, 5.4, approve the city maintenance and scheduling agreement. Joel.
All right, on a similar topic, Chairman Bloom, we have a new agreement with the city coming, and this is specifically for the maintenance and upkeep of the baseball field out on the Krausheim campus. I'm just going to highlight a few things that go into this agreement. The city is going to be responsible for maintenance and preparation for the 3 baseball fields located on the 518 middle school property. Preparations include watering, mowing, weed eating, dragging, lining, pitching mound maintenance, cleaning, trash removal, and minor maintenance on all that parts of the facility. That will start at the approval of this agreement and run through the entire playing season this year. The city will provide all maintenance equipment for these preparations. The city is responsible for the scheduling of the events and ensuring that fields are ready for play. On our side, District 518 will provide all of the ag lime needed to properly maintain the infield portions of the fields. 518 will provide the paint used for lining the fields. 518 will provide necessary funding to make repairs to the actual physical facilities. And District 518 in all of this would reimburse the city of Worthington the sum of $13,468 for the services listed above, which is a 10% increase from the previous agreement.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the city maintenance and scheduling agreement?
So moved.
Motion by Ann, do I have a second?
Second?
Seconded by Matt. Is there any further discussion?
Just quick, I was just noticing, so it was gonna cost $13,468 as our board packet says. I just was looking at the agreement and the number on 8 is $14,749. So I don't know if that's a difference or what's included there.
It should be the 13,468.
Okay.
There was two numbers that got sent out. The city had originally sent the higher one,
Okay.
then sent a revision for the lower dollar amount. And this is and they did that because they were charging us the same with the agreement they have with the college on their field.
Okay.
So they wanted to make sure they were equitable with both entities.
All right,
So I
thank you.
apologize for the confusion.
Nope, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 5.5, approve the budget revision. Ryan.
The original budget was presented and approved last June. Many things were fuzzy and unknown at the time, such as our student enrollment, new teacher contracts, tax revenues, construction projects, and the compensatory revenue. We're now 8 months through the fiscal year. Things are becoming more clear. So you have 4 columns in front of you. The 24 school years on the left, 25 is the second column. Third column is your initial budget, and the fourth column on the right is the revised budget. We're going to focus on the 2 right columns. Revenues, general fund, first line, there was a formula increase of 2.74%, which is $200 per pupil unit, but we were down around 100 pupil units this year. But we do get declining enrollment of 28% of that back. We had lost $425,000 in ESSER funds, but we also got our compensatory hold harmless back, which was an increase of just over $3 million, 4.7%. Food service, these are based on the meals served. We're trending at a 5% decline in lunch sales and 8% decline in breakfast. We think this correlates to the loss of enrollment. So that decreased 3.8%. Community service, not a lot of change. ABE federal funding is up $60,000. Debt redemption increased to $4.8 million. The initial budget was based on last 2-year trends. Final numbers we don't know until after the levy in the fall and what adjustments the state may have. The adjustments are based on updated tax collections and estimated student numbers from prior year. Construction fund, minimal interest revenues, $5,180. Student activities, variable is trending upwards similar to last year. We may get a few extra dollars from the band trip fundraiser starting at the end of the year for next year. Expenditures. I analyzed and updated the bigger swing items like salary and benefits, site projects, repairs and maintenance, utilities, snow removal, et cetera. Increased general operating fund, or general fund operating 2.6%. Transportation was initially supposed to be a 15% increase. It's trending towards more of a 12% increase. So we lowered that to a $2.4 million budget. And the capital expenditures are your approved capital projects, LTFM, such as the high school elevator, gym floors, the prairie roof. Your total general fund increased just over 1% to $64,805,000. In those costs are your prairie roof, your iPads, the start of your high school gym project, and the cost of the softball fields until the end of June. There'll be some rollover costs next year. This is all not gonna be paid for this year. So, those total costs are 4.8 million. Food service, slight increase in food costs, salary and benefits. We increased it to 3.74 million. Community services, 2.15 million. Total operating funds, 70,695,000. Debt redemption, there was a retirement of the 2017A bond and finalized payoff. I'm just going to read you the explanation from our financial advisors. In August of 2017, the district financed the ALC and gymnastic spaces using a mechanism known as Certificate of Participation, COP. This series 2017 COP financed used lease levy proceeds to make future payments. The local voters allowed the district through 2019 referendum to refund or refinance the 2017 COP with the series 2019 B issuance. Why? This enabled egg taxpayers to receive the egg credit versus the COP where it is not allowed. The revised budget for year 2020 showed an escrow amount of $11,538,000 set aside to make the remainder of the callable principal of the series 2017 COP on February of 26, remaining principal and interest payments prior to the 2017 COP call date. The U.S. Bank escrow used $8.7 million to complete the 2017 COP refunding transaction and officially retired the 2017 debt. The revenue for this refunding was placed into the district revised budget in fiscal year 2020. Correspondingly, the district revised budget will show this 8.7 as an expense in fiscal year 26, which is on your revised budget in front of you. Trust funds, 35,500. Student activities, 170,500. Total all funds, 83,877,500. It is, you are showing a deficit of 7,123,000, but if you take your retirement bond out and you look at just the general fund, the very top line, the 66,495,000, and you minus your total general fund below 64,805, you're in the positive of 1.7 million. It's a lot to take in.
So I've got a question on expenditures. You kind of off the subject a little bit, but I've been approached, snow removal. Are we in the third year of the current contract, Ryan, do you know?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
With snow dozers?
After 3 years, if we're gonna be going back out for bids for another 3 years or 5 years or what our plan is. So that's just something I wanted to keep in mind or share with the administration, that there's being questions out there.
If I may, real quick, that is one process that we're going to try and put in place for lots of different contracts that we have. Auditor is another. We've had a contract for a long time, haven't gone out for RFP. So Carmen, Josh, Ryan, and I have had conversation about, doing that on a regular to continue to make sure as a system that we're getting the best for our cost.
I appreciate the explanation on the debt redemption difference between the initial budget and the revised budget. Why wasn't that included in the initial budget? 'Cause it was foreseeable, right? Like we knew about this back in 2017
We
and
did.
2019.
The schedule I have was an auditor budget. I guess I didn't come to my attention as of June, but I found out after the fact.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the budget revision?
Move to approve budget revisions as presented.
Motion by Matt, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Aaron. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the budget revision motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, 5.6, approve the Vibe 26-27 school calendar.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Principal Winnicky to share on the Vibe calendar.
You have your Vibe calendar in your packet for the board meeting. You will notice there are some slight differences, but the overall start day, end day compared to the brick and mortar students is the same. You'll see some slight adjustments due to primarily the back to school conferences or what we call academic planning meetings, along with it is designed with the curriculum design in mind, along with some stakeholder staff feedback. There was a really good question at instructional, by the way, about a difference in student contact days, and that is because of the amount of days needed for our academic planning meetings or back-to-school conferences. And this is designed similar to years past, along with the current year.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the Vibe calendar?
So moved.
Motion by Lori, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ann, is there any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion for the Vibe calendar, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. 5.7, approve resolutions relating to the termination and non-renewal of teaching contracts. Carmen?
These non-renewals are for probationary teacher contracts. They can be non-renewed at the discretion of the school board in accordance with Minnesota statutes 122A.40 and 122A.41. The process for non-renewals of probationary teachers, obviously probationary teachers, we do more evals with those. So, I mean, there's a combination of reasons that we would do non-renewals. But just to kind of give you the process, there's evals, ongoing observations and documentation. The review, admin, evaluate staffing needs. So staffing needs, performance, also licensure are reasons that we would non-renew probationary teachers. And then that recommendation from the administrators goes to the superintendent, and then we bring it to the board for adoption. So some of these that we have listed in our, you guys have in front of you, are due to licensure issues. We do have several Tier 1 teachers. By law, we do have to non-renew those each year because we do have to post those positions. We also have some audit-fill permissions and then other license restrictions as well as performance.
Okay. And we can lump this in one or separate.
You can do it as one motion or you can do individual.
So I am going to be abstaining from this vote tonight. I have a personal conflict and I'm not ready to say yes or no to one of the names on the list. There's 3 additions. I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to lump it together. I need a motion.
Motion to approve the termination of non-renewal of teaching contracts for those listed with the
Motion
additions.
with the additions. I have a motion by Ann. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Matt. Once again, I am abstaining, so this is a roll call vote.
Ms. Dudley.
Aye.
Ms. Agard.
Aye.
Ms. Shute.
Aye.
Ms. Mills.
Aye.
Mr. Parrish.
Aye.
Mr. Woodboom.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, 5.8, approve an out-of-state travel request. Joel?
We have 4 individuals that are going to be attending a series of trainings in the Chicago area later on in April. It'll be myself along with 3 other administrators in the district. We'll be attending a program that's put on by the I Love You Guys Foundation. The I Love You Guys Foundation is all around creating standard protocol in response to active threat within school buildings. And we've had many conversations Assistant Superintendent Noble's done a great job putting together a collaboration within the community. We've been meeting regularly each month. We've had anywhere from 15 to 25 individuals within the community representing multiple entities within Worthington to make sure that we're all collaborating together, speaking common language, bouncing ideas off of each other, and how we can truly make all of our spaces for our constituents safer. And through these conversations, it's been identified that not all entities are necessarily using the ALICE framework, which is something that's been used here in Worthington for quite some time. In talking with our law enforcement partners, the training that they receive is a protocol called Run, Hide, Fight, which happens to be something that I'm fairly familiar with. And so I've been able to at least bring that perspective to the conversation. Truly, when we go to this training in April, we're really looking at their standard reunification part of it. We're going to adopt the Run, Hide, Fight response protocol for active threat, but would like to have some greater guidance in if an event should happen, how do we reunify in a real standard, thoughtful, planned out way. And the I Love You Guys Foundation has that put together. And so a team of us are going to get together, go see that symposium for 2 days, and works out perfect because a week later, the Southwest West Central Co-op is actually going to bring the foundation in a smaller sense to Slayton, and they've offered the opportunity to as many people as we want to send to get some of that conversation on a condensed scale as well. So it actually times out really, really well. So the out-of-state travel is for 4 of us to attend the I Love You Guys Foundation Symposium in the Chicago area.
Do we have a motion to approve an out-of-state travel request?
So moved.
Motion by Eric, do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Aaron, any further discussion? All those in favor of the out-of-state travel request motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, reports. Joel.
All right, tonight, this is a little bit of a personal one. I don't want to make it about me, but my own son, who's a student at the high school in 10th grade, got to participate in part of what I'm going to share this evening, so kind of near and dear to me. But again, tonight I'd like to take a moment and highlight the outstanding work of our theater and performing department through the recent production of Seussical the Musical. The production was held over 3 evenings at the Memorial Auditorium. This event was a tremendous success and a reminder of all the talents within District 518. Throughout the performances, our students demonstrated exceptional ability. Their theatrical and musical talents were on full display through playing of instruments, singing, dancing, storytelling, and audience engagement. When all these talents were combined with the humor and uplifting message of the script, the lively music, and the vibrant costumes and set designs, the result was truly an inspiring experience. The production carried a meaningful message for all in audience that every individual matters and has value, delivered in a way that resonated with everyone in attendance. In addition to the musical, the visual arts were predominantly featured through a student art showcase in the lobby of the Memorial Auditorium. More than 400 art pieces representing a wide range of styles were on display for all attendees to enjoy before, during, and after each performance. The exhibit remains available through the end of March for anyone who may have not yet had the opportunity to experience it. Lastly, I also want to recognize the advisors and teachers who led these programs. Their dedication is evident each and every day through their instruction, their mentorship, their coaching, and they are building confidence in our students that extends well beyond the performance or showcase. The impact of their work will be felt long after. I am grateful, as well as members of our team, for their commitment they make to our students and the role they play in helping them grow. These events are, again, just 2 examples of opportunities available to students in District 518. They not only highlight the diverse talents of our students, but also reflect how our staff strive for creativity, confidence, and connection. Together, they make all of us proud to be part of the Trojan team.
Okay, thanks, Joel. 6.2, instructional committee. Everything covered?
Looks like it. Everything's been covered.
Okay, operations committee, has everything been covered?
Yes, sir.
Other reports, Lori?
Just quick, the Krailsheim Committee has completed their selection process of the new exchange student that will be going to Krailsheim this fall, or actually middle of the summer. And that's, high school student is Michaela Indedow. And so she'll go to Krailsheim from Worthington High School, and Finja Hohenberger will come to us from Krailsheim. So we're excited to continue that exchange, and it was a beautiful exchange process, and so that program continues.
So I got one question I guess I got for Joel. Everybody knows we got a new special ed director coming next year. Could we, like in May, before the start, or maybe even June, the start of a new school year, have Jill present to this board what changes we're gonna make after we've had a special ed audit and some considerations by administration, kind of present to us on some of the changes and differences we're gonna be seeing or looking at with her as director?
We can do that.
Okay, 7.0, other business. We are going into closed session.